Jazeera recently released a documentary about the 12-day Iran-Israel war from this past summer. And as you know, I produced a 2-part analysis video of that conflict, and I was in Iran just a month before the war kicked off. So I was very interested to watch this documentary and share my thoughts with you all about it. The documentary opens up at a famous cemetery in Tehran where thousands upon thousands of martyrs from recent conflicts to decades-old conflicts are buried. Max Blumenthal and I were both given a tour of this cemetery by the professor Mohammed Marandi. So I have seen the sheer scale of this place, the dedication to honoring the dead, and the relationship that Iranians have with their lost loved ones. Throughout the documentary, journalist Hind Hassan speaks with several families who lost loved ones during the war.
In Iran's largest cemetery, mothers cry out for children who will never answer.
شما نگاه کنید ببینید این همه جوان این همه به چه دلیل کشته شدن. بیشتر اینا لباس شخصی هست. بمب می‌ساختن، تفنگ داشت، دشمنی با اسرائیل کرد، دشمنی با امریکا کرد، چه کار کرد؟
The US backed Israel's war, joining the offensive on the 10th day by striking Iran's nuclear sites with some of the biggest bombs in the world. June 13th, 2025. Israel launched Operation Rising Lion.
She then meets the son of a murdered nuclear scientist. They take us to the top of a high-rise apartment building to show the repairs being made. Just look at how much damage there is.
The bomb that killed Dr. Tehranchi was so powerful that it tore through multiple floors. This is one of them.
Now, ever since this war, the Zionists and their supporters have been bragging about how precise their weapons were and how they didn't target civilians in the way that Iran did. Of course, all of this is a complete lie. Here we see there was actually nothing precise about their attacks on Iran. To kill this scientist, they had to blow up multiple floors in this building, which killed 14 people in total. The blast was so powerful that several victims were knocked out of the building where they fell to the street below and died.
سه تا از همسایه‌های دیگه که از اوج انفجار از طبقات بالا به بیرون از ساختمون پرتاب شده بودند.
Israel has been using the supposed threat of a nuclear bomb in order to demonize and attack Iran for decades now. It's the same propaganda the West used to destroy both Iraq and Libya, so-called weapons of mass destruction that need to be kept out of the hands of these evil, corrupt, violent regimes. Mind you, this is being said by the most evil, violent of regimes that actually has hundreds of weapons of mass destruction. We know, of course, that Iran does not have a nuclear weapon and does not have an intention to build a nuclear weapon.
Supreme Leader Khamenei has not authorized the nuclear weapons program that he suspended in 2003.
Israel started the war claiming Iran was just weeks away from building a nuclear bomb. It pointed to reports from the International Atomic Energy Agency, which accused Iran of enriching uranium to near weapons-grade levels. But the IAEA's Director General told Al Jazeera that there's no evidence that Iran was building a nuclear weapon.
What's interesting about Rafael Grossi and the IAEA is that they are accused of leaking sensitive data about the identities of these nuclear scientists, their homes, their whereabouts, and the locations of sensitive sites that contain nuclear material and the equipment that is used to enrich uranium for pharmaceutical purposes, energy purposes, to Israel, which of course made them targets for assassination and destruction.
When you have these Director General of the IAEA collaborating with Israel and the United States, meeting with Israel. Israel is not a signatory to the Nuclear Nonproliferation Treaty. Israel has a nuclear weapons program that operates outside the framework of this treaty. There's no reason why the IAEA Director General is meeting with Israel other than to pass intelligence information that was used by the Israelis to target Iranian sites.
So it's particularly disturbing to hear him admit that Iran had no bomb, yet he privately collaborated with the Zionists, giving them information that would lead to the deaths of the scientists, their neighbors, their family members. Israel is such an evil, vile presence on this earth. Wherever they cast their gaze, you find death and destruction. Just watch this clip and imagine the world of pain and suffering that they caused just this one particular family.
Their 4-year-old son Kian survived. He suffered 3rd-degree burns over more than half his body.
You can see his face only here, but his entire body is like his face.
Doesn't know the meaning of the death. One day he says that yesterday we saw a cat on the car. He was like, do you see this cat? He doesn't have parents like me. I don't have my parents anymore. And I have to smile in front of them and just tell him, okay, yes, baby, there are many kids that they don't have their parents.
The film is full of powerful testimonies like this that just rip your heart out of your chest.
محمد باهاش صحبت میکردن توی همون مثلا زمانی که رسیدن به طبقه 13 که همینجور آبار رو برمی داشتن هی می اومد پایین، من یه دفعه دیدم مبلمان دخترم و فرشش پیدا شد. دوشک خوشخوابشون وقتی آمد بالا، دستهای امیرعلی اومد بیرون و امیرعلی چهرش پیدا شد زیر همون.
Hind then interviews the foreign minister of Iran and asks him some very interesting questions. The foreign minister is considered by his critics to be a naive moderate, too trusting of his Western counterparts. So Hind asks him a very interesting and important question.
راهی جز یک راه حل مذاکره شده، یک راه حل دیپلماتیک برای حل مسائل موجود وجود نداره.
The last time you were in talks with the United States, Israel attacked Iran. Do you trust the United States to be honest in their negotiations with you?
The foreign minister admits that he doesn't trust the US at all. Now, this is very telling, and it shows just how performative diplomacy can be. Iran is a formidable nation. They responded to Israel and they hit them hard. But let's be honest, they are outgunned, outmatched by the collective West backing the Zionist regime. So Iran has no choice but to put on a brave face, smile, and engage in negotiations and diplomacy that they know is really meaningless and will lead nowhere with people that they don't trust. How strange is that? The US knows it's theater, Iran knows it's theater, we know that it's theater, they know that we know that it's theater, we know that they know that we know it's theater, yet we all participate and we all wait for what we know is actually coming, war. Hind then travels to the United States where she interviews an expert on what the West actually wants from Iran.
They wanted to turn Iran into the next Syria or Lebanon, countries that Israel can bomb at will, with impunity, without American support, because Iran was one of the few countries that actually could challenge Israel.
This Republican senator is quite blunt about what the US objective is. He doesn't care about Iranian civilians. All he cares about is regime change.
You spoke about Russians bombing Ukrainian civilians. What about Iranian civilians? I went to Iran and I spoke to a lot of family members who lost people.
My position on Iran is simple. Until there's regime change, Iran is a malign actor.
It's about changing the government.
It's about regime change.
Well, there you have it. He said it loud and clear. He says it's about removing the government completely. That's what the war is all about.
The documentary does a great job showing the human cost of the 12-day war on Iranian civilians and the true intent of the West. The objective of the West is very simple: destroy Iran the way that they did Iraq and Libya and extract its resources for their private companies. What the documentary doesn't show, however, is the powerful way that Iran's military responded to Israel's attacks. While the death toll wasn't equal, Iran demonstrated its ability to go toe-to-toe with Israel. If you want to understand more about the military and propaganda aspects of the 12-day war, go ahead and watch the two-part analysis videos that I produced on the subject. The Al Jazeera documentary is linked in the description of this video, so go ahead and take a look and come back and let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, take care of yourselves, and see you in the next one.
Trust nothing.